In this video, I'm going to show you how to download and install OBS, explain to you the best settings for high quality recordings, and give you tips along the way. The best settings I'm about to show you apply to PCs and laptops alike. There will be timestamps in the video so you can jump to where you want exactly. So to download it, go to this website. Be careful of other sites that claim you should pay for OBS. OBS is completely free and open source, and this is its legitimate website. In this video I will explain exclusively on Windows, so I will click the Windows version, then download the installer. After downloading, just open it and click Next, Next, then Install. It will install all the files into your C drive. Now make sure to let it launch OBS after installing, then click Finish. Right after opening, you will see the auto configuration wizard that helps you get up and running pretty fast. But we will just ignore it because we will do everything ourselves to really customize every setting to our liking. Now let's go through the interface of OBS real quick. This right here is called the preview window. This is where you can see what you're going to record or stream. Right here is our action controls, where we start and stop the recordings or live streams. To its left there is the transition section, where you can set transition settings for your scenes. The audio mixer controls the volume levels and monitors the audio input from all your different audio sources within your OBS scene. And what is a scene, you might ask? Well, it's like a single screen or view you create. It's made up of different sources like your webcam, game, or images, all arranged how you want them to appear. You switch between different scenes to show different things in your recording or stream. And sources are the individual things you add to your scenes to show or to listen to. These can be your webcam, a game window, your microphone, an image, text, or even your whole computer screen. Now these small windows are called docks. To show and hide them, you can go to the docks tab and select which ones you would like to show. For me personally, I like to hide the scene's transitions and show the stats window instead. The stats window provides real-time performance information about your stream or recording. It shows things like CPU usage, memory usage, dropped frames, and disk space. Now I can just drag and drop it anywhere to dock it next to other windows. To set up a screen recording inside the scene, we're going to add a new source to it. So, click the plus button and select Display Capture. Add a name to it, then click OK. For the capture method, just leave it as automatic. I went into more details about this in another video if you are interested. The video link will be in the description box. Now select your main display that you want to record the video from. Make sure to check this to capture the mouse cursor. If you have an HDR monitor and are displaying in HDR, enabling Force SDR ensures your output is in standard dynamic range. It's useful for guaranteeing an SDR result, especially if your source is already SDR. I'm not using it as I have standard SDR monitor. Now let's click OK. Now as you can see, the screen is being captured in the preview window. You can resize the window to your liking. To fit the resolution into the preview window, click on the preview window, then right-click on it, then select Resize Output. It will fit your resolution into the preview window. Now let's configure our video settings. To do that, click on the Settings button on the right-hand side. In the settings, we have multiple sections for video, audio, output, and much more. We're going to cover the most important ones starting with the video section. Here we can change the video resolution and frame rate. The base canvas resolution is the resolution of your monitor, so if you are using a 1080p monitor, put a 1080p resolution. If it's 1440p monitor, put a 1440p resolution and so forth. I'm using a 1440p resolution as my main resolution on Windows, so I will set it here. For the output scaled resolution, setting it to the same resolution as the canvas will generally provide the best visual quality as it avoids any scaling of your scene. However, you can change this to a lower resolution recording if you want. For example, if you have a 4K monitor and you want to record in 1080p, you can set the base resolution to 4K and the output resolution to 1080p. In my case, I will just use 1440p for both my base and output resolutions. If the downscale filter is active, then leave it as bicubic. It will be active only if your base and output resolutions are not matched. The frame rate setting controls how smooth your video looks. For smooth gameplay recordings, choose 60 FPS. This will capture fast actions clearly, but will take more hardware resources as a result. If your PC is less powerful, try 30 FPS as it uses fewer hardware resources and is still good for many videos. I'm keeping mine at 60 FPS for now. Now let's go to the output section. This section is all about the quality of the video and audio recordings. By default, you will get the simple output mode. This mode is for beginners and the people who don't want to mess with the settings. So instead of using the simple mode, I recommend switching to the advanced mode. As you can see now, we have 4 different tabs for setting up the exact settings we need. We will skip the streaming tab as we will only show the best recording settings. So let's go to the recording tab. Now for the type, we should just leave it as standard. Under the recording path, you can set a location for your recordings. The recording format is the file container that holds information like video, audio, subtitles, and the metadata of the recording. The most common options you will see people using are MKV, MP4, and fragmented MP4. While MP4 is widely known for its compatibility with various editing software, it can be more prone to data loss in case of unexpected interruptions. So for this setting, I would strongly suggest using the MKV option as it's the best overall recording format in OBS. And that's because if OBS crashes or the recording is stopped abruptly while recording to MKV, the file is usually recoverable up to the point of the interruption. A good second option for your recordings is fragmented MP4. This also offers similar resilience to the MKV format in case of unexpected interruptions. If you're concerned about MKV or fragmented MP4 compatibility with your editing software, I will show you how to convert it to regular MP4 later in the video for the best results. Now for the video encoder, this is where you will have to decide which codec and encoder combination to use for your recording. A codec is an algorithm that compresses and decompresses digital media to reduce the file size while maintaining the quality. It determines how data is encoded for storage and decoded for playback. Most common codecs are H.264, H.265, and AV1. H.264 is common, but older and should be avoided for YouTube exports. H.265 is better and more efficient than H.264, and AV1 is the most efficient codec, allowing for smaller file sizes with the same quality as H.265. Now the encoder is the tool within OBS that actually performs the compression defined by the codec. For example, if I choose NVIDIA NVENC H.264, this means I'm using the NVIDIA GPU to encode the recording using the H.264 video codec. As you can see, there are multiple encoder and codecs combinations. For this setting, I would suggest using NVENC HEVC for most NVIDIA users and AMD HEVC for most AMD users. You should not use the X264 encoder as it uses the CPU to encode the video and this hinders the performance. So I would leave mine as NVENC HEVC. The audio encoder compresses your microphone and desktop audio. AAC is the best choice for general compatibility across websites and devices. If you plan to edit your audio a lot later, consider recording in 32-bit float. It's higher quality and gives you more flexibility in post-production, but the files will be larger. For the sake of this video, I will choose the general AAC. For the audio track, this setting determines how many separate audio channels will be embedded in your video file. You should be fine with just track number 1. If you're interested in this topic, I have a video about this exact option. Link will be in the description box. For these settings, just leave them as they are. Alright, let's head down to the encoder settings. Now instead of the default CBR or VBR for rate control, we're going to pick CQP. Basically, instead of focusing on a specific file size, CQP makes sure your video quality stays consistent throughout. It will assign a bitrate based on the movements of your video, so if you record mainly gameplay videos, the encoder will give your videos much more bitrate to work with compared to static videos, for example. For the CQ level, I recommend setting it to 20. This is usually the sweet spot. You get a really good looking video that's still a reasonable file size for editing. Then below that, for keyframe interval, just set it to 2 seconds. Think of keyframes like important checkpoints for your video. Setting it to 2 seconds means OBS will create a full checkpoint every 2 seconds, which is generally perfect for editing without making your files too big. The encoding preset determines how efficiently the bitrate is used for your video recording. Think of it like telling OBS how much time it can spend making your video look good. In CQP mode, which is what we've selected, if we choose a faster preset, it tells OBS to work quickly. This means it might use a higher bitrate to maintain your chosen quality because it has less time to compress efficiently. On the other hand, a slower preset allows OBS to take more time to analyze and compress your video. This often results in the same quality but with a lower bitrate bitrate, leading to a smaller file size. For the most efficient encoding, the slowest preset requires more of your computer's power, which can sometimes lead to a lower frame rate in your recordings or your gameplay. Faster presets demand less power and less likely to impact your FPS. For the most users, I would suggest selecting the medium encoding preset, as it strikes a good balance between encoding efficiency and hardware resource usage. For tuning, just leave it as high quality. The multi-pass mode first does a quick scout pass to map out the scene complexity, then a second pass to hand out bitrate exactly where it's needed. This setting, much like the preset setting, also aims to improve the efficiency for your bitrate. If you choose 2 passes, for example, you will get better quality for your recordings, but keep in mind it roughly doubles your GPU work, so I would suggest choosing the 2 passes option only if you have a really high-end PC that can handle this much processing. It can also be useful for recordings with minimal movement, like slideshows or talking head videos, to squeeze out a bit more quality. But for most people, just leave it as single pass and you will be fine. For profile, just leave it as main, because otherwise you will record in 10-bit color depth, which is not necessary for SDR videos. For these 2 options, uncheck look ahead and leave the other option checked. Now for the B-frame setting, if you plan on editing your recordings later, setting this to 1 can lead to a smoother editing experience. If you are mostly recording for direct playback without much editing, you can set it to 2 for slightly better compression. Below the B-frame setting, you will find B-frame as reference. For the best compatibility and the smoothest editing experience, it's generally recommended to leave this disabled. Enabling it can sometimes improve the file size a little, but it makes the video more complex for your computer to process, especially during editing. For this last setting, I would suggest leaving it empty, since it requires advanced knowledge to mess around with each encoder setting. Now let's go to the audio section. Here we should make sure to capture the internal audio by assigning the desktop audio to default and our main microphone in the mic auxiliary audio option. Also make sure to leave the sample rate at 48 kHz and the channels to stereo. Now let's go to the output section and go back to the audio tab. Here we have 6 audio tracks to change their settings and names. Since we only chose 1 track for our video file, we will change its audio bitrate to 320 kilobits per second and name it as we wish. Now about this replay buffer, it's a seriously handy feature, and I actually went deep into how it works and why you should be using it in a separate video. You will find the link in the description box. But in a nutshell, it's like having OBS constantly recording in the background, but instead of immediately saving it to the drive, it keeps that recording in your computer's memory. Then, when something awesome happens and you want to capture, you just hit the save button and that last little bit of recording is saved. I highly recommend watching the video to how to set it up. Now let me show you how to convert the MKV videos back to MP4. OBS has a handy feature that changes MKV back to regular MP4 without re-encoding the video again, and it's called Remux. To do that, go to the top left corner and click on File, Remux Recordings. Click on this icon to select your MKV video files, then click Remux. This will generate another file with MP4 format. Now you can delete the MKV videos safely. And that's it, it's that easy. Now to save your settings for backup, OBS allows you to save your configurations as profiles. Profiles are a group of settings for your different output settings, like streaming and recording. You can create multiple profiles for different resolutions and frame rates with different settings for each one. To save your current settings as profile, go to the profile menu at the top left and select Duplicate. Enter a name for your profile and click OK. This will save your entire profile as a new profile instead of starting a new one. Then you can change your settings for your new profile. For backing up individual profiles, you can export them. Go to Profile, select your profile that you want to export, then go back to Profile and click Export, select a save location and click Save. And importing them is the same process. Now if you want to back up all OBS settings, go to File, Show Settings folder. This will open a File Explorer window. To create a complete backup, go back 1 folder and copy the entire OBS Studio folder to another location. Whenever you want to restore your complete OBS settings from backup, ensure OBS is closed, then navigate to the same folder and replace the existing OBS folder with your backed up version. This is handy if you have multiple PCs that you want to use the same settings for all of them. If you want more OBS videos, watch them from here. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Peace.